Vlog 18, as always, we're just talking about the movies that I watched recently. And that's it. That's what we do with these things. 5 movies, and the first one has obvious appeal in that it provides a look at the bizarre world of transgender prostitution, but the main reason I was interested in Tangerine is that it was entirely shot on the iPhone 5. Somebody made the film festival rounds last year with something they shot on their smartphone, and the critical reception was mostly positive, which has people like me go, Now, it's horribly obvious that this thing was shot with shitty cameras. The movie looks very, very flat, and a lot of the artistic shots come off like the filmmakers trying much too hard, even overcompensating for the reality that the iPhone just does not have the capabilities of a production level camera. And that's aside from essentially throwing out the option of interchangeable lenses, which when you're a cinematographer is kind of a big deal. And I did my homework, and they actually used what is called an anamorphic adapter for this film, which I applaud them for. That's a pretty incredible piece of technology. But when I'm talking lenses, I'm talking focal length, wide angle, a 50mm, telephoto. These are tools that let you capture unique scenes in the best way possible. And by shooting the entire film with one lens, they're giving up that dynamic. So all in all, rather than capturing the cinematic feel, I think this movie does a decent job imitating it. I don't want to undercut too much what these filmmakers accomplish because they do push the boundaries to the limits of this tool, and the movie functions perfectly well as a feature, but the quality trade-off doesn't buy the movie anything. This is no 28 Days Later where it allows them to get shots they wouldn't possibly have been able to get otherwise. And the movie is not a wholly unique experience. The low quality frequently took me out of the film, and I can't imagine anybody honestly saying they prefer this aesthetic over if the film had been shot with even just like a couple DSLRs. The movie itself is unique. I don't think there's all that much here, but there are moments with unexpected heart. And the blowjob in the car wash scene was pretty damn creative. Some of the musical choices work, some of them are expected to wholly carry a scene. There are literally scenes of characters just walking down a street where blaring techno music alone is expected to psych us up. And that's all I gotta say about Tangerine. It looks cheap, it feels cheap, there are things I like about it, but I don't feel comfortable giving it any more than a 5 out of 10. Michael Bay's Bad Boys is bad boys. It's a perfect example of a movie employing the most cliche of cliches, only to be broken up by some of the most forced humor ever. So forced that it merits a new degree of forced material called as forced as the humor in the first Bad Boys movie. This is Michael Bay without anything he does well. And even though I generally try to avoid his shit, this is the worst thing I've seen from him. But Bad Boys 2 has its moments. This is a film where you can see where the $100 million FX budget went, and Bay's not about to let any of the film's carnage go unwitnessed. As an action film, this movie is wonderfully indulgent. Like in the famous freeway scene where the bad guys hijack a car carrier and one by one flip cars onto the freeway to spin and crash and explode in the path of our heroes. In scenes like this, the intensity is high, the visual style of the film works, and the things that Bay films excel at, like sound design, really help bring together a pretty incredible sequence. And that's about all the value of Bad Boys 2. This is a bad movie, and Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's characters descend well beyond the moral level of bad. They lie, they cheat, they kill needlessly, they harass innocent people. One scene in particular where they fuck with some teenage boy really cements these two as some of the biggest assholes, some of the most morally dead heroes of any movie ever. And at that point, it's kind of hard to root for the guys. The chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence is like Sasquatch in that hundreds of people claim they've seen it, but I spent 4 hours looking and couldn't catch a trace. The only part of this film that you can laugh at with any dignity is the excuse for a plot, and even though Bad Boys 2 is twice the movie the first one was, I'm still going with a soft thumbs down on this one. A buddy of mine got me to watch Todd Phillips' Old School, which is pure shit. After 11 or 12 beers, this thing might be fun, but sober, it's insultingly simplistic, and the humor is as basic as it gets. We're talking fat people falling down and naked people running through the streets counting as humor. By comparison, Todd Phillips' new movie, War Dogs, is decent, and by that I mean that it's dull, uninspired, uninteresting, lacking in ambition, thoroughly unspectacular, and unworthy of your time or money. But you know, Old School is among the worst films I've ever seen, and I don't really want to talk about it anymore. So, War Dogs. Miles Teller, who I really liked in Whiplash, and Jonah Hill, who I really like in general, back up a Wolf of Wall Street, Lord of War type movie that falls flat on its face. The appeal in this kind of film is its ability to expose us to filth, raw charisma, and interesting anti-hero type characters, none of which are really present here. The script isn't sharp or funny and tells the tale of two men as presented doing borderline moral things for the most part. Jonah Hill has the potential to portray an intriguingly disgusting character like he did in The Wolf of Wall Street, but he's not given the chance to shine here, and the focus on him is deliberately taken off by allowing Miles Teller to narrate the story, which is like letting Jared Leto narrate Lord of War. And Miles Teller plays a nothing character. There is nothing to him, which can work if you're gonna need a character for the audience to latch onto as we go on this wacky adventure and meet all kinds of other interesting characters, but we don't do that. This movie's biggest sin may be in that it's 2 or 3 notches too low on the energy scale, and this could have been resolved, at least in part, by just shifting up the tempo of the edits a little bit. There's no moral, no so what, the entertainment value of the movie is low. I was thoroughly unimpressed with this movie, so War Dogs gets a 4 out of 10. And that's it. That's log 18. Thank you so much for watching this. We're doing weekly videos now. This is the first one, the first of the videos that are coming weekly now. So thanks for watching this. My name's Austin. The binge goes on, and I will see you guys next week. But for now, I'm afraid this is.